Good evening. I'd like to call the Monday, January 13th, 2025 Select Board and Public Hearing to order at 6 p.m. We have a new business license application for She Can Do It, located at 299 Wiley Road. If anybody's here to speak for or against that application, we'd like to hear from you now. Seeing none, we will open the Select Board meeting. Please rise and salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a review of the meeting minutes from December 23rd, 2024. Need a motion and a second to pass them.
Make a motion to accept as presented.
So moved. Got a motion and a second. You said as presented, so there's no adjustments. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
4-0, one abstained. Public participation. Is there anybody here from the public that wishes to speak before the board this evening? Go ahead. Come to the podium, please.
I was wondering, do you want me to wait until you get to the failed fire pond, or can I speak now? I live there.
Why
My
don't we
name's
do it all
Caitlin.
at once? I know
Okay.
the town manager has some new information.
Well, I had some questions that I wanted to ask.
Sure.
I've been living there since, I bought the spec house from the developer, so I've been there 21 years, and I've seen everything that's gone on over there. So I just was wondering about asking some questions.
You'll have that opportunity.
Okay, great.
Yep,
Thank you.
sure. Any adjustments to the agenda? Adjustments to the agenda? Oh, sure. You're a little slower than you usually are, Ken.
I am, so
I'm with fighting people.
I debated doing this and all, but there I am. Where's the door? I got all kinds of them. So I'm here today to discuss the community center and the votes we've recently had. I was impressed with the turnout on the November election, and it came out very well. I think we had 444 more yes votes than we did in 2022. There was also 431 more voters, 44 more yes votes. The no votes stayed about the same. It was 1443 to 1441. When I looked at that, there was a lot of people saying the select board didn't do enough. When I looked at that, it looked to me so there was a substantial increase in the number of yes votes, which indicates a shift in sentiment towards construction. And I think people realize there's a lot of us that support building a new recreation facility, community center. I think probably the major reason for that increase in yes votes was the scope change. We went from a town hall, community center, to just a community center. So, and the number. The other thing that, this was pointed out to me by a town employee the other day, at that time in November, we've been had high inflation. There's been, the timing on that vote was not so good for us, not good for the opponents. Everybody's struggling to pay their grocery bills, never mind spending any more money. So all in all, I think it came out well. As people say, it's in the paper, an epic disaster. Yeah, it wasn't. We did well. In fact, Great Falls and Grand Hayes did an excellent job with that schematic. One of the things that could have happened that didn't happen was an explanation. at the last meeting, a couple residents, described a Butler building with a wood frame front. That's exactly, well, we didn't say Butler building, but that was a box gym for sure, flat roof. In fact, even part of the wood frame structure was flat. That was a facade. When you look at that picture, I don't think people understood what they were looking at. The wood frame structure, there was nothing Taj Mahal about that thing at all. Most flat, it was simple, There are ways to cut it back, and I think the last meeting, Ted, your direction to that working group was to look at those drawings and see if it could be cut back, maybe and phase it, which was really discussed. We've been talking about phasing since probably 2021. When we were doing the 22 vote on the Town Hall Community Center, we had, I think it was I got it, I think 2021, there was like 6 different options. No, it was 2021 at the June vote out in the hallway. They presented 6 different options. It was too much, to the public. I wasn't getting it. There's so many estimates out there, numbers. I think at that time it was 8 million with out of post office, 9 point something with a post office, and then it wasn't. That committee was formed. The Naples Community Center Exploratory Committee is what they were called. Was formed in 2019, and it wasn't until 2022 the select board asked John Hawley, or the town manager, to check with the post office to see if they'd agree to a 2-year lease. Well, come to find out, they had a 5-year lease, So that, all those options, all of that discussion, they sent out flyers to the public, asking, do you want a post office? Do you want to not have a post office? It was all for naught, So that and a few other things, I just think, I would get down to something specific. There was too many unknowns. They had it out there. So then you shifted again. We did this, we did that. I think by September, might have been it doesn't matter. September or October, they had 3 informational meetings. And at that time, there was 3 proposals. One was to put the gym over at Beacon property. One was to phase, put the gym here, not do this, tear down this place, put in another, put the structure here, widen the, there's so many options, I was lost. I gave up. I just going to vote no. I couldn't get it. But one thing that I did get out of, I went back and looked at all this stuff over the last week, and that committee did a good job with getting estimates. I think they did what they were told, They were asked to look at this, look at that. They spent a lot of money. They didn't spend the money. The select board voted, I got it down here, they voted, it was 401 to spend $95,000 on some schematics. It wasn't the committee that spent them. They would approve that money. And I don't, definitely, you 2 guys were here, Kevin and Ted, and so, I hear now and again, blame put on that committee. Yeah. It's a whole bunch, I could have said something, you could, all of us, it's a community, so I just don't like putting that blame on people. So that worked out well. So I went back through the history. In 2020, Ted, you recommend, this is per Don DeBusk in the Bridgeton News. That Bridgeton News archives is handy. So I wondered where we were, where we went, how we get to where we want to be. And you said in 2020, Ted Shane recommended start saving now. And that was a good idea. I don't know, you still save that $650,000 you was going to put down? Is that still someplace for the future?
That would come out of the general fund balance.
Is it in the Still not too late to start saving. Is it in this year's budget to save it? Can that money be saved? I think you had something, Jason, on when you had your PowerPoint thing, you know, if you put that 650,000 in a bank at 4%, in 4 years, you'd have $1 million.
A little less than that, but I get your math, yeah.
What's that?
It'd be slightly less than that, but yeah.
Well, that's what you wrote down, was one point,
I'd have to-
it was
I'd have
over
to-
$1 million.
Not have
So
to-
anyway, it's about $1 million. You know, getting these numbers we're looking at, these rough order of magnitude numbers to the nearest dollar is, yeah, right. There's one thing you can be assured of, the number you put out there is wrong. There's no way in hell you're gonna hit the right number with our rough order of magnitude. The other thing I didn't find in the last estimate was a contingency. Was there any contingency?
There was, I think they factored in about, I think it was, not having it in front of me, it was about 350,000 thereabouts for
In fact,
contingency.
you know, Great Falls,
That makes sense, that would be 5%.
yeah, Great Falls said the town should put in 5%, but I didn't see it in September, when you sent out the thing for 7.3, 7.2, whatever it was. I never saw the contingency in there. The other thing I noticed is you doubled up on, in Great Falls proposal, they had basketball hoops and wall padding, and then you put it in there again. So I went back through and said, how could, you know, you were asking how can you cut this building back and make this better, you know, less cost? Well, I think you could take out half of that wood frame structure. Just you leave the back, you know, the front half, move it back, you know, do something. There's ways. I got it down to about, this is with contingencies and, you know, well, all the soft costs. So I was down to around 6, maybe a little less. There was so, you know, it can be done.
So that's what this new working group is working on, Ken.
Right.
They're working on ways that they can lower the cost.
Right,
But-
are they
but years-
looking at?
Years down the road, we can still expand on it and what we have
Yeah.
and make it to what
Well,
we
you know, luckily,
need at the time.
unluckily, I know, there's a couple people from the town that went to that meeting, you know, and it sounded to me like they were way focused on Legion Field. That could be, but I walked those sites again today, you know, and I had walked them. I gave you guys my assessment. I did a site assessment on all 3 sites. You know, you should read them over. I still say that wetlands, there's no drainage over there whatsoever. There's not one culvert within a mile of there, I don't think. So you'd have to build that up. The septic system, likely, it's hummocky. The land is hummocky. It is mapped wetlands right through part of that property. So if you're gonna build a septic system out there, it's gonna be a big mound out in the field or whatever you're planning on doing. Parking, Steve, you mentioned last week that there's already parking over there. I think there was there might be 60 spaces, you know, and the town owns 50-something. If you're gonna build a 14,000 square foot building, you need 3 parking spaces. Don't quote me on this one, I think it's 3 parking spaces per 1,000 feet. So 14,000, you need 42. Plus you get the ball fields, there's not enough parking. You know, you'd have to expand the parking. And when people say they can build this building for $4 million, I'm thinking, they must be thinking just hard cost. There's no engineering in there, there's no septic systems in there, there's no geotechnical evaluation.
Again, that's what this group is gonna come back to us with, is
I
everything
hope
that
they
we
do.
need.
Well, you know, it sounded to me that they were way focused on that, and this is a nice spot over here. I know you guys cleared some brush over there. Did you have that done, Jason?
No, we have not cleared anything.
Somebody did.
Oh, just where, yeah, right off 302, we cleared that last summer, so for annex parking for people with boat trailers and things like that, we mowed it out this,
Yeah, if you go up there, it looks even better to me than before. But Colin has been making this same point for the last 4 or 5 years. You need a plan. So to go over, even, I don't care if you go to Legion Field over here or something, you need to have the 2 things you need first are a boundary survey and an existing conditions plan. Because you don't know, you've all heard the story about the fire tower.
Yeah.
Just, you can't start, you can't even make an assessment on what should go where. You don't even know if it's gonna work. You're gonna see what's there and see how it works. Colin, you also made the point of waiting for the comprehensive plan. I don't know. You could, because, I don't know what's planned. Nobody knows what's planned for the future. Jason, you had mentioned, maybe the town hall's gonna go over there someday. Well, that's 30, 40 years away. Who knows? I don't know how long it is, but anyway. You gotta have a plan. You have a long-range plan. This can't be, we need a gym, I'm just gonna put it here. Sort of like saying it was gonna go over on the Beacon property. That would have been, it's not the right property. That was last. All right, see what else I forgot. Oh, and then, so on this schematic, I don't know, there was a person here last week that was saying there was elevators in the building, we had kitchens, it was two-story building. None of that's true. I don't know if the public realizes, if they look at those drawings and that estimate, but there was no elevator, there was trusses. It may have looked like 2 floors, but there was no elevators, no 2 floors, no kitchen. It was fairly stripped down, but it could be stripped down more. And then, when I look back at the history, some people need
Ken,
coverage.
I don't want to cut you short, but we do limit public participation to
Okay.
3 minutes.
Okay, I'm done. Except for the sign at East Falls, where are you? For the abutment? You said you was gonna put up a sign?
There should be a sign up there to tell people to stay off. We ordered signs, should have been put up in the fall.
I see that.
I'll walk it
The
again.
only one I saw was, and I was just down there the other day, was the old Ben Up sign that's been
All right.
there for a long
I'll
time.
follow up on that tomorrow.
Good.
There'll be more information coming about the community center.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else for public participation? Seeing none. We had gone over not making any adjustments, correct? Nobody had any ideas? All right. Approval of licenses and permits. The new business license application, she can do it. Again, located at 299 Wiley Road. Need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
Should I be voting on this?
Why not?
It's across the street. I don't know if it's something I shouldn't be, because I'm okay with it. It doesn't bother me.
Sure you can. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Under old business, amend,
A couple old business items. Previous annual calendar we put out for meetings, I proposed May 15th as the potential date for town meeting. After confirming with the school, the middle school is going to be having a drama club presentation on that day, so we've secured 2 dates, just need the select board to pick one. It'll either be, sorry, went out of order here. It'll either be on the 10th of May, which is a Saturday, or Tuesday, the 20th of May. I just need the select board to pick one of those days.
Do you need a motion or a decision?
both.
Both.
A motion for the 10th.
I'm not motioning him because I can't be at any of them. Why are they in May now?
That's what we were last year, so I kept it in May.
I'll second that motion, Kevin.
So I got a question, Mr. K. Chair.
Go ahead.
What times are we looking at, Saturday or Tuesday? I'm guessing Tuesday's not during the day.
6 PM for both. I could request a different time on that Saturday if you want to do it sooner.
Well, it was like at 9 AM, wasn't it,
I
back
would,
in the day?
I would go early. I mean, a lot of the comments that we have seen out there on social media is maybe we should go back to a Saturday, so I'm willing to try it. That's why I seconded the motion. But it used to be during the daytime.
That's all I
Whatever
asked.
time you want, I can go ahead and change the time.
You want to put a time on your motion?
What do you get, 10 a.m. you think, or what do you?
9 or 10, whatever you choose.
I would recommend 10, only because the team would have to get over there and set up at least an hour and a half prior, so that would 10 would work best, or anytime after that.
Okay, I make a
We can
motion.
try it, and if the turnout's not any better, then why keep going with it? You're just wasting a day, really.
All right, I make a motion for, amend that to May 10th at 10 a.m.
Second amendment. Any questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Abstain?
I can't go, so it's up to you guys.
None of those dates work. There you go.
401?
Yep.
All right, next one, sorry, so to amend the annual calendar for meetings. The 24th is actually Memorial Day this year, so recommend moving that Saturday open day to Saturday, May 17th instead of Saturday, May 24th. Any objections to that?
No.
I'm good with that.
Okay. And, okay, in the update to the fire pond at Sebago Cove Estates, spoke with the town's attorney today. They spoke with the attorney from, that represented Owani, and the attorneys have requested some additional documents, some additional planning board documents and any relevant documents that may have been part of either the appeals board or select board meeting. So I have to provide those documents to them. And again, I just got a phone with the attorney this afternoon at about 4:30. So I'll provide those documents and I'll have a update based on their recommendations after that.
Okay. Anything for the manager on the fire pond from the board?
Didn't you want to talk?
Anything from, she did, anything from the board first? No? Go ahead.
Hi again. My name's Katie Blank. I had a couple questions. One is, it was recently told to us that the hydrant on Lake House is in good working order and that it could service the 42 lots in our development. That now is 2 phases instead of 1, and the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Phase 3 got changed to phase 2 a few years back, and phase 2 became the Sebago Woods, as you guys know. So now we just have the 2 phases, and with the fire pond in the middle of the second, well, it's called phase 3, but it's really phase 2 now. I wanted to know, is it the town's position that we only needed that fire pond because of phase 2, which was Sebago Woods? Is that your position?
As I understand it, reading the documents that I've reviewed thus far, is that the fire pond was, how to phrase this? So the Owani provided a retainer to the town in the amount of $20,000 to support a clear path for building and development in phase 3, or what would have been phase 3. That was an assurance, that was assurance to the town that they would address the issue.
It was Vaughn, right?
Correct.
Right.
And that pond's been there since they first started building, as I understand it, talking with the fire chief. So the fire pond wasn't required specifically for the final phase. The fire pond was required for Sebago Cove Estates.
So then, what you're saying is that the fire pond still needs to be there.
Yes.
So if the fire pond still needs to be there, why would the 42 lot owners, when he failed and never completed the project in the 20 years, and then came back to the town, gave you guys a new proposal, and that didn't fly, and then he turned it into, gave it to Echelon, and now it's not, we don't have that piece of it. So I guess what we need as the owners over there in the association is we need documentation from you guys that you are saying that that has to be done, and that if it has to be done, that could you please explain to us why we have to pay for it? Since he failed to complete the project, and then came back with another project, and in all that time, you guys, seriously, the lot owners were never invited to meetings. We never had a say, not one time did we have a say. And that's what's not right about this. We shouldn't have to pay for something that the developer should have to pay for. And not you guys, I don't know if it was you, but the planning board made the deal. The planning board made the deal, we didn't have any say in it. You decided that $20,000 was enough to do this project, and we're gonna have to come up with $35,000. And so I just want you to think about that, because so many things have gone on over there. When I bought, there was only phase one, and there were 2 common areas. A year after I was there, the sign got painted, and one of our common areas was turned to reserve. The board voted that in without us any saying, and then he turned around and sold it to Lot 1. And we lost a common area, just like that. No, we had no say. So I just want you to know that there's a lot going on over there, and that we really don't think it's fair. And there's 42 of us that don't think it's fair.
So that was something that that was some of the supporting documents the town's attorney has asked for. Was any of the drawings that referenced the fire pond and when it was required, whether it was specific for phase 3 or for the entire development. So those are the documents I have to give to them so they can better prepare a conversation with Awani's attorney.
Right.
So there's still,
I just want you to know that we have no say. So,
I understand, I appreciate you being
there's a
here.
lot of us. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, what year was that approved?
I'd have to look back. I vaguely recollect 2008.
Sounds right. Sounds right.
There's a development was built in 08?
No. Phase 1 was before that, actually,
Yeah, I was just saying, 21 years ago, right?
in the 90s.
Yeah.
But anyway, anything else on that? You're waiting for information from the attorney and,
I'll have an update once I get into the documents they've requested and I'll hear back before the next meeting. I'll provide another update.
okay. So there'll be more information at the next meeting.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
listening
you.
to me.
Yeah. Before we go to new business, I want to go back to letter A, and I'd like that to be a formal motion that we're changing the calendar.
Okay.
Not just a, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Because the reason being is we voted on the calendar initially, and if we're going to make a change to it, we should vote on it
Okay.
again. So,
So moved.
thank you.
Second.
Motion and a second to change the Saturday operating hours on May 17th instead of May 24th, because the May 24th is a holiday weekend. All in favor?
I wasn't part of the original vote on
You
that
didn't
either.
vote on the calendar?
No.
So it's 401 again?
Yeah.
Now on to new business. Vote to appoint a resident to a vacant seat on the Ordinance Review Committee.
I make a motion to appoint Craig Chaknis to the Ordinance Review Committee.
I have comments, so I'll second it just because I want to talk about it.
Got a motion and a second. Discussion. Colin?
I'm not opposed to Craig being on the ordinance review committee by any means, but I would like to see that we open it up to accept nominations. And it's probably my own fault, maybe it is, but I wasn't even tracking, there was a vacancy on the ORC.
How long is the vacancy?
So I don't know if anybody else knew there was a vacancy, and I'd say that, to be fair, we should request nominations from the field.
Mr. Chair?
Yep. Sure.
It's clearly posted on the Town of Naples website. There are 2 vacancies on that board. Also on the Town of Naples website, under boards and committees, there's a paragraph that invites all residents in the Town of Naples that wants to volunteer on a board or committee to submit an application. That is what Mr. Shackness did. This is exactly the same thing that happened on August 12th at the Select Board meeting, when the previous board committee president, Skip Meeker, had made a suggestion to put, for Jay DiTucci to fill out an application, and he did. And at that meeting on August 12th, it was not even on the agenda, and yet you all voted to put Mr. DiTucci. Jason Rogers, under item that was just called adjustment to the agenda for attendees. It wasn't even a named item on the agenda. Jason Rogers stated that there was one adjustment and stated that he had received an application for a vacant position to the Ordinance Review Committee from Jason DiTucci and asked for the board to make a decision on the application. Colin Brackett made a motion to accept the application, seconded by Steve Lapointe. Billy Adams abstained from the vote. The motion carried 4-0. So if you don't approve Craig Shackness this evening, I'd like to understand what's different than what happened in August.
I don't think there's any difference. I think there's, and I'll speak for Trader Kidwood, I don't think there's a set policy in town to address any of this.
Yeah, there is, and it does not say that it has to be advertised, and I just said it's on the town website that there are 2 vacant positions and a paragraph welcoming community members to apply to open positions.
And I get that, but I'm saying that I think that's great, but I don't think it's said in a public forum like this. I don't think everybody goes
Well,
to
I
the
said it at
website.
the last ordinance
I
review
guarantee people
committee.
that I talked to at the Legion and their residents half of them don't even have a computer. So I just think in an open forum like this, it should be discussed. That's my opinion to the board. What they want to do, that's up to them.
Well, again, there are 2 open positions, so even if you appoint Mr. Shackness tonight, you can still wave the banner and whatever, and we still need another person.
And again, I just think we should have a policy for all our committees and boards across the board of how we do advertisements or whatever. If we're just going to do a website, that's fine, but I don't think it's stated anywhere that's just that. I again think we should volley for it to be publicly done in a forum, but again, only one vote.
Well, that goes along with ratifying policy,
Right.
the topics that we have going on, like with the budget committee.
Exactly.
So,
Motioned by Kevin, seconded by Colin. Any other comments? Call for a vote. All in favor?
aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Now, if that's said and done, do we need to have a discussion somewhere about setting a policy or some sort of conversation?
My guess is it'd be another agenda item for a different night, unless we're trying to figure out policy.
But in the meantime, we'll continue to advertise like we are and hope that we get some applications.
Spread the word.
Spread the word. Letter B, vote to appoint resident to vacant seat on the budget committee or keep the seat vacant until the next election in June.
I make a motion to appoint Jim Turpin to the budget committee.
I'll second it, Kevin. But I will say that now that we're into the budget process, and I'll second it and I will vote for it. But now that we're in the budget process, it's almost like, can't wait till June. You know what I mean? But we do have a volunteer that is ready and able, so
Very knowledgeable, experienced, very qualified.
any other comments?
I'll give you my comment. We're already in the middle of budget cycle. We've had 2 meetings, third tomorrow. Someone told me that Mr. Turpin said online that he didn't want to be on the budget committee, so I don't know if he's still interested. So I don't know where that goes with that. But
Has anybody checked with him to see if he's interested?
Have not.
The post was very livid about not being on it. I will tell you, the the comment was very adamant about not being on it. And 2
Are
boneheads.
you talking about his post?
His comment, yep.
I'm not a Facebooker, so I don't see it, but
so just like we're doing for ORC, do we move forward and say we're accepting nominations again? Or do we wait till next
I
budget
think at
cycle?
this point, if we don't have somebody at this point, we definitely are gonna leave the seat. We should decide as a board to leave that vacant and move forward and get through the season and fortify the policy for the next coming season.
Because I think I saw, I don't have it in front of me, but I'm pretty sure ORC, one of you guys' topics is you guys are looking at budget committee makeup currently.
Yes.
When do you think that'll be done, anticipated?
Any ordinance changes will go on the June ballot.
I'm working on it this week for the first time.
I'm just trying to think of timeline, how it lines up with the next vote.
May, June.
Yes,
It's June, right?
If you haven't, you get feedback, Colin, make sure you get it into somebody for that meeting Wednesday for that policy, because it'll be helpful. Or all of you, anybody.
right now we have a motion and a second to put Jim Turpin on the Budget Committee. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
It fails, 2-3.
I make a motion, we leave the seat vacant till ORC reviews the ordinance for Budget Committee and push it till next vote in June.
Second.
Motion and a second to let ORC do their job and push the vote till the next June election. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Town manager report.
All right, so a couple updates, just for ice safety. We've had several weeks of very cold weather here. I've seen a lot of folks out on the ice, but still be mindful that there might be some areas where the ice is thin, so please refer to the Maine Inland Fisheries and Wildlife website for any updates on the ice here in Maine. Office closures, town office will be closed on Monday, January 20th in observance of Martin Luther King Day. Crosswalk community outreach update. Over the past couple weeks, the community has seen several social media posts from Crosswalk Community Outreach Organization as they seek to find a permanent home here in Naples. They've organized a building committee as well as a grant writing and fundraising committee toward this effort. It is obvious that the residents of Naples and those surrounding towns that both this facility is and their services are wanted and needed. By finding a permanent location, they will be able to expand their services to more completely fulfill their mission. It is important to note that this is a private endeavor on the behalf of Crosswalk Community Outreach, and it is not funded by the town of Naples. In fact, the Crosswalk organization has been very clear that they want to create a facility that does not create a tax burden, additional tax burden on the residents, so I appreciate their efforts. Comprehensive plan progress, mailers went out around the first week of January to both addresses here in Naples and for those that pay property taxes with mailing addresses out of state. Folks have started to receive those. I've received feedback from here in the town. Have not received notice from anyone out of town, but this is an opportunity for residents to participate in the survey associated with the comprehensive plan. To date, we have 211 survey responses. The goal is to get at least 256 in order to achieve a statistically meaningful number. The survey will remain open until January 31st. Residents wishing to take part in it can either come into town office and manually fill out a survey, or they can go online. The link is on the town website if they'd like to just go there and complete the survey. Town admin updates. The Ordinance Review Committee is currently working on the following items in preparation for the June elections. Update accessory dwelling language to comply with state statute. This was something that was pointed out by the state here in the spring, and they're amending our ordinance to comply. Adding doggy daycare as a definition to a kennel. Create a standalone ordinance for the Budget Committee, and also address the size of the Budget Committee from 12 elected officials to 7. As it stands right now, that ordinance only resides in a town warrant from back in 1983. So in order to better track it and amend it as necessary, we want to pull that out as a separate standing ordinance. Consider adding short-term rental registration and creating an ordinance for short-term rentals. This is something that many towns in Naples or in Maine are doing. Casco recently amended theirs this last year to increase their fees. A better way of tracking the number of short-term rentals is through a program that GPCOG has created that allows you to, it does a clean sweep of, or queries both Airbnb and VRBO daily to see how many people are advertising within your zip code for short-term rentals. As of today, I believe we're at 211. We queried that system today. We have 211 short-term rentals being advertised here in Naples. Now, there are several other apps and means for people for advertising short-term rentals, but this is a potential way to help our residents that are providing short-term rentals to ensure that their home can support the number of people that they're advertising for. Primarily looking at septic systems. We want to make sure that septic systems aren't overwhelmed if the number of people staying in the home exceed what the septic system was designed for. We're also looking at adding political signs to our existing sign ordinance. We saw this during the election period. We saw signs pop up everywhere, and our ordinance doesn't address specifically political signs. We want to add some language in there to address that. ORC bylaws, we're going to update those to include the municipal planner as the staff representative to that committee rather than the code officer, and the same will be done for the land use ordinance. Private road standards, this is not an ordinance that we currently have. We need to address private roads so that they can best support emergency vehicles that have to go down those roads. So looking at neighboring towns that have private road standards and looking to develop one of our own. Ordinance is reviewed with no recommended changes. They've reviewed the marine safety ordinance. They considered adding a requirement to put an address on docks. And the recommendation coming out of the committee was to leave it as it currently stands and make it an optional item for residents. Setback reduction for subdivision plans. They did consider reducing the abutters notices from a 500-foot radius to a 250-foot radius, but the recommendation is that it remains the same at 500 feet. And then my last update was on Sebago Cove Estates, and we've already addressed that issue. That concludes my update.
That update on the ordinance review committee's progress is a very beneficial addition. That's been lacking for years.
Are you allowed to ask questions?
Just a minute.
I didn't know.
I got a comment also.
I haven't been here before.
Hold on.
About the.
Hold on.
Oh, you're not, okay.
Curious what the reasoning would be to put your address on a dock.
So if a dock, free-floating dock, was really addressing that in case it broke free this morning.
Got it. Okay. Go ahead.
About the Airbnb issue, are you guys gonna make specific rules around it? Are there gonna be rules to protect like associations and things? Because there's been a lot of nightmares with people renting out their houses in the associations and calling them Airbnbs, and we just wanna know, are there gonna be any rules made? Are you guys gonna have a committee? Is there gonna be any input?
We're still in the early stages of looking at the ordinance language, so actually we have a member of the ORC here, so we'll consider that when we're going through that process.
Okay, I would love to be involved.
Could you come to the meeting? We're having a meeting on Wednesday morning.
Wednesday morning?
Oh,
okay.
Great.
I guess my other question, the current in front of the town pier is a little different now that there's bubblers out there. And is there any concern with the liability of the town pier? Folks going off the town pier and out through there, and if not knowing if that ice is thick enough for them to go out?
I will double check the signage, and if we don't have a sign that says, walk on ice at own risk, or something to that effect, I'll also talk to our insurer to make sure that we're properly covered.
You're talking about going off the pier, town dock, onto the lake, which is probably not frozen outside the pier.
There's a wet spot across there, but
Yeah.
apparently some folks were going out through there somehow, like thread the needle.
Fast enough, you make it. Go fast enough.
Anything else for the manager?
Trying not to unplug anything.
Seeing none, move on to other business. Tricky Pond 319 grant accomplishments. Martina.
Oh, it's with an S, not a Z.
So, thank you for giving me a few minutes. I'm speaking to you this evening in my role as the president of the Tricky Pond Environmental Protection Association. I don't think Heather was able to make the call. Was she on Zoom?
I don't have anyone on Zoom.
Okay, all right. I wanted to just spend a couple of minutes to go over a few slides with you because the town of Naples was generous enough as part of this grant to give our organization $4,000 over the 3 years that we did the grant. And the first 2 years, John Hawley, who was still the town manager, was on the steering committee. So, and also because Tricky Pond is a beautiful public resource in this community and an economic driver for the community. So I just thought you would be interested to hear what we did with this grant. I'll tell you when to switch the slide, not yet. Could you go back to the, okay. So just in case folks don't know, the TPEPA, as we fondly call it, is a nonprofit, all-volunteer organization, and it was founded in 2006, so we're going to be celebrating our 19th anniversary this August. Larry Anton, who I know all of you know probably, was one of the founding members of the TPEPA, and he's still on the board, so thank you, Larry. So in 2019, the TPEPA hired an environmental firm called FB Environmental to conduct a shoreline survey and a watershed survey of the pond to identify what is called NPS, or non-point source pollution sites, and that is when stormwater, rainwater, or snow melt wash across the surface of the earth. It brings with it contaminants into lakes and into watersheds. So we wanted to identify where those spots were. So when they completed that report, we then used that to write a watershed protection plan, which is on our website, so you can read that if that kind of stuff interests you. It's a 10-year watershed protection plan for Tricky Pond. And then we use that plan to apply to the EPA and through Maine, and also through the DEP, Maine DEP, for our 319 grant. So now we can switch to the next slide. Thank you. So the purpose of the grant, as you see, was to reduce Tricky Pond's declining water quality trends. So here I feel like I need to pause because I have to always defend Tricky Pond. And it says declining water quality trends, and that just simply means that over time, all the water testing that we've seen on Tricky Pond does show a decline. However, Tricky Pond, out of the 22 lakes that LEA tests every year, is still the clearest lake out of 22 test sites that it performs. It actually has a Secchi disc reading of about 9.3 meters, and the next closest lake, and it's 1.6 meters cleaner than the next closest lake. So it is sparkling clear. However, again, in science, we look for trends, right? So what we're seeing is that despite its clarity, it is trending less clear, and also its phosphorus was increasing. Right now, its chlorophyll is holding steady. So that is one of the things we wanted to address with this grant. We wanted to reduce the sediment and the phosphorus that goes into the lake, and we wanted to increase shoreline buffers, because that is an actual fabulous defense in preventing these contaminants from coming into any water body, is to have a robust shoreline buffer. And the other part of the grant was that we wanted to raise public awareness on watershed protection actions. Next slide, please. So here are the numbers, and this is why I was hoping Heather would be here, because she could have explained what was left and how much we used. But once I get that final number, I will give that to you. So the EPA grant granted us $75,811.25, and that came from the EPA Section 319 Clean Water Act grant funds. There were also pledged cash matches. So when you apply for an EPA grant, they want to see that there's some, that other people in the community have some skin in the game, so to speak, so they look for cash matches. So the TPEPA also put up $4,000 for the matching, and the town of Naples gave us $4,000, and that was over the period of the grant. And the way we got that money was when I did my community applications during the budget process, the $2,000 I asked for, we put towards the grant from the town. So that's how the town paid for that. And the Portland Water District also gave $8,000. And you're wondering, why would the Portland Water District be interested in Tricky Pond? Because the Tricky Pond watershed is also part of the Sebago Lake watershed, which is where everybody gets their water, right? And then in-kind matches came to $52,600, and that's not cash, that's in-kind, that's labor. So all of our volunteer work and other kinds of in-kind, the state has a calculation, and for all your volunteer hours, they figure out about $27 an hour. So all the volunteer time we did over 3 years and all the hours that the folks at Cumberland County put into it, that's how they come up with that figure. That was the in-kind match. Next slide, please. So the steering committee was made up of representatives from these organizations, from Maine DEP, Cumberland County Soil and Water, Tricky Pond Environmental, Portland Water District, the LEA, and the town of Naples. And that was John Hawley, when he was here, he was the representative to this group. Next slide, please. So a lot of what we did was getting technical assistance. So I became quite friendly with Heather Hunt and Chris Baldwin at Cumberland County. They're two amazing professionals, and the resources that are available to everybody really through Cumberland County are amazing. So, you know, I worked with the people in the watershed from the sites that were identified, and we set up appointments, and then Heather would come out, and sometimes we would ask Chris to come out because we needed a little bit more engineering support. So basically, we visited over 24 sites, and Heather authored 17 recommendation reports. These are multiple page reports that she generated after visiting and spending about an hour on each person's property of what they could do to address stormwater issues that was likely to be bringing phosphorus into the lake. And then we got 7 engineered designs from Chris, and we also got, because Tricky Pond Road has the most exposure of a road to Tricky Pond. About 1.75 miles, Tricky Pond runs down the west side. Tricky Pond Road runs down the west side of Tricky Pond for about 1.75 miles. So that's where many of these sites were, because that's where you have the potential for the phosphorus to enter the lake from the driveways and from some shorelines where people had cut back their vegetation. So the Road Association had asked if they could develop a road maintenance guide for them, and it's a fabulous guide, and now the Road Association can use it for its budgeting and planning on how to best maintain that road. Next slide, please. So in the implementation sites, we addressed 6 of the sites, and the calculations that were done, and I don't know how the calculations are done, but Heather did them, over 12 tons of sediment, which is represented about 10 pounds of phosphorus, will be prevented from entering Tricky Pond annually. And here you see one of the volunteers planting on one of the implementation sites. Next slide, please. So here's another site that we worked on. This is on Tricky Pond Road towards the end. It's what we refer to as right-of-way 5. And you see on the left, the before, it was kind of like a straight shot right down to the lake. This, once upon a time, used to be used as our boat launch in the association. Not anymore. But so when heavy rains would come, and you know, with climate changing and our storms being heavier and more frequent, you would see gullies created in the water washing straight into the lake. And because once upon a time it had been used as a boat launch, the soil was pretty compacted, so it was becoming somewhat impervious. So the recommendations were to create a meandering path and put lots of planting in and some erosion control mulch and large boulders so that no car could ever drive down there again. So we placed the large boulders and created a path, and it's still wide enough for a golf cart to go through, and planted all those plants. So now the plants will be able to absorb some of the runoff, and the meandering path will help guide the water so it's not going in a straight shot to the lake anymore, and have an opportunity to absorb before it hits the water. Next slide, please. This is another right-of-way that we addressed. There are 5 right-of-ways on Tricky Pond Road for the association. This one is actually where we do still have our boat launch. And this is I guess we can call it a well-loved site. So because of all the activity, the earth was packed down. It was hard for water to absorb. Unfortunately, vegetation had been cut. So we planted more vegetation, again erosion control mulch, and we got a permit by rule to put a narrow 3-foot removable entryway step there so that we could guide all the traffic into the lake by people going on that step, and rather than all over the shoreline and abusing all the vegetation. Next slide, please. This right-of-way is probably my favorite as far as improvement, because it was atrocious. That picture on the left, you could see that the earth was literally just falling away. I remember the day I took that picture from my kayak, and I thought, what the heck happened? I mean, it just got so bad all of a sudden. It was crazy. And again, so with the permit by rule, Heather helped us with all the permitting. We were able to put in those infiltration steps, which are amazing, and about 32 to 40 plants that we put down on this area, and every single one of these plants held. This was our first big project in the first year of the grant that we did. So those plants have been there for a couple of summers now, and they've really taken off, and it's amazing the difference on that site. Next slide, please. This is the Watling property, which is off of Lake House Road. which I think a lot of locals refer to that as an old boat launch as well. And so the issue that we had at that's a 16-foot wide, heavily eroded area that was about 120 feet long at a 12% slope that was bringing sediment directly from Lake House Road down that gully and into Tricky Pond. So here's one of the sites, for example, that Chris Baldwin created an engineered plan for us on how that was going to be rectified. So we installed a 60-foot long ditch. This is the kind of stuff that you know more about, Ted, so I'm just going to really read my notes. Check dams were included, a common burrow, and then that was covered with 3 to 4 inches of coarse erosion control mulch, and then large blocking boulders to prevent automobile access down that path. And Cumberland County was helpful in selecting the contractor that did that work. Next slide, please. And these are 2 other sites that were also engineered by Chris, and I think that you guys who know Chris, there he is in that picture on the left. One driveway had a pretty steep slope, had no culvert. The erosion was, the water was just coming down the driveway, so we installed a 15-inch diameter culvert, 30 feet long. And then the other one on the right-hand side is at the very end of Tricky Pond Road, where you see that gray box. There we ended up, Chris suggested we put some large boulders there because there's a small stream right there that feeds right into Tricky Pond, and what was happening there was that the snowplow guy every year would just plow all the snow right there with all its sand and contaminants with it, and then it would melt and infiltrate right into the stream right there. And then we also installed a culvert on that driveway as well. Next slide. So as I mentioned at the beginning, part of it was to get people to increase the shoreline buffer, because plants along your shoreline are the best way, one of the best ways to prevent sediment from coming into the lake. So we had a couple of, through the grant, we were able to provide access to plants through a wholesale nursery, and the first year we provided a $100 grant to everybody that bought plants. The second year we provided a $200 grant to everyone who bought plants. And then in the third year, most of the time these grants are 2 years, but we were able to get an extension because there was some more work we wanted to do. And in the third year, we hosted a lawns and landscaping workshop that Cumberland County put on at the Naples Library. It was really well attended. There were well over 20 people there, and they were able to bring in designs or plot plans from their homes and lead with suggestions on how they might landscape their waterfront so that it's more environmentally friendly. Next slide, please. Also, as part of the communications outreach, Cumberland County helped us create 3 videos on watershed awareness. One about driveway drainage, the other one about roof runoff, and the other one about shoreline protection. All 3 of these videos, they're less than a minute. They're really engaging and easily accessible. You can watch them on the TPEPA website under the Take Action tab. You go to trickypond.org. You can also see them on the LEA website at mainelakes.org, and go to the Tricky Pond page, and you can also see them on Cumberland County's YouTube channel. Next slide, please. So that brings us to the end of the grant. December 31st, 2024 was officially the last day of everything that we had to do with the grant. And I have to tell you, I'm kind of glad that we're done with it. It's a lot of work over 3 years. The Tricky Pond-based protection plan, that's the cover of, and that is also on our website, again, if you really want to read that. And that will serve as a guide with a tracking spreadsheet that Heather developed for us so that we can go back and visit these sites, make sure that they're being maintained properly, and continue to offer anybody in the watershed assistance. So the money part is done, but the assistance part is still there. There are so many wonderful resources for people that want to do things to improve their waterfront situation and protect the lakes that they love, and so many of these resources are available on the LEA website and on the Cumberland County website. And you can call LEA if you want to have a lakefront checkup, Clean Lake Checkup it's referred to. And these are free checkups, and they're not regulatory, which I can't stress enough, which means if you have somebody from LEA come and give you advice and make suggestions for you, it's really just between you and them. You don't have to do what they say. They're not going to tell anyone about your property or report you to anybody. It's completely an educational process, and people that want to improve their waterfront really like taking advantage of that. So that's all I have. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them, but just again, thank you to the citizens of Naples through the community funding projects for giving us those $4,000, and thank you, I guess, for allowing, at the time, John Hawley to participate and being part of the steering committee. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, that was good.
Yeah.
Good, I have a question too. But go ahead.
Oh, no, you go first, good.
So you mentioned 5 access points on Tricky Pond Road and
Yep.
the one off from Lake House Road, and I'm gonna refer mostly to the one off Lake House Road. Is that accessible to the public to go ice fishing?
That's private property, and the new owners that bought it, I want to say probably like 7 or 8 years ago, did post it as non-trespassing, no trespassing private property, so that's all I can say, but I don't know.
Okay.
But again, I would say that the Tricky Pond public access ramp is phenomenal, and there's parking there, and it's safe.
Yeah, a lot of
so-
ice fishermen like to fish this end of the lake, and if
Oh,
they're
oh.
walking, it's a long
Oh,
haul.
okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Years ago, when I was into ice fishing a lot, that's where I went.
I know, well, the previous owners didn't have it posted, these
Sure.
owners do, so
Got it.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Great presentation. You guys do great work over there. Are you guys planning on applying for another grant anytime soon for planning purposes, matching funds from the town type stuff?
Grant, no, not another grant. The money that we asked for through the budget process this year is $1,500, and that's just to help support our CBI coverage and our paying for the water test, help pay for the water, paying for the water testing. We subsidize the water testing that LEA does on Tricky Pond, and also paying for maintaining the boat wash station. That's what that money,
So that's a state launch, right? The state owns that?
yes, they own the launch, and the town of Naples owns the property that the boat wash station is on. But the
That's a difference.
TPPA, and previously to the TPPA existing, the citizens of Tricky Pond Road actually built that boat wash and used to pay for it, but then the TPPA took it over.
Do we track volunteer hours, say for Devil's Advocate, the 501(c) association goes away or something? Do we track the volunteer hours that if we had to fit that bill to maintain?
Oh, I
that
can give you
launch?
that. LEA has that because they are LEA employees, and then they bill our lake association, and we pay LEA, so they have all of that, and that's all, yeah. You can actually, you know what, you can see that, I'll send you the link, there's the CBI dashboard that the Maine DEP maintains. You can see the hours that every CBI puts in. I think you can also even see the hours of the person that you guys hire for Kent's Landing. You can see everybody's hours, you can see the number of inspections they do, you can see whether or not they caught a plant. All of that is available. I'll send you the link. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah,
Skylar's also on Tricky, right?
yes.
Are they participating in this at all?
Oh, yes. So as part of the steering committee, I was the representative, but the whole board of TPPA is involved, and Arlene Shepard is the clerk for the TPPA. So she was actually doing those steering committee meetings.
Did they do some mitigation things for their
They-
facilities that had access also?
Yep, not with this grant, but before this grant, we used some stormwater compensation funds that were available for Tricky Pond, and they used some of the stormwater comp funds. Stormwater comp funds come from if a project is built in a watershed and the builder can't mitigate all the phosphorus on site, then instead of mitigating it, then they pay a fee to be kind of like it's a pay to play, I guess, but then the money at least is available to use in other ways. So Camp Skylamar had used some of those funds to address a few issues on their site.
I'd be interested to see 5 years from now, are we still progressing, decreasing in water quality or
That's what,
stabilizing?
yeah,
or,
I know, I guess we'll be tracking that. We'll see this in the LEA water testing, because we'll be watching what the phosphorus does, so hopefully it continues
and clarity.
to go down, and we hope the clarity stays the way it is. I mean, there are other things that contribute to lack of clarity, like sediment turnup from boating and things like that, but you don't want to bring more sediment and more things into the lake, so. That's that.
Thank you.
Good, all right, thanks.
Moving on. Property maintenance ordinance overview, presented by Naples Code Office.
Selectman Lapointe had asked for an overview on a recently adopted ordinance for property maintenance, so I have municipal planner Kathy Tombarelli and code officer Randy Thurston here to provide that overview.
Good evening, Kathy Tombarelli, Municipal Planner. Randy's here as well if you have any specific questions, because I'm not the code officer, and so I'm not the one that's actually going to be out there doing this work. Basically, what the manager asked for is an overview of what the ordinance does and what the ordinance does not do. What the ordinance does is it does set a minimum standard for property maintenance, but only related to health and safety. We're not talking about how long your grass is or anything like that. It's related to public health and safety. It defines what constitutes a nuisance condition that we can act on, and it creates a procedure for the code officers to address violations based on Maine statute. So prior to this ordinance, anytime something came to our attention, we would have to go dig through the state statute to figure out what exactly code officers can do, and then lean on state statute. Now we have a local ordinance to address that and house it all in one place. What the ordinance does not do, it does not enforce private homeowner associations or covenants. If there's private associations about the type of siding or what type of maintenance you have to do on your house, that's not our department, and that is civil and between those parties. It does not set or enforce any aesthetic standards, and it does not encourage code officers to seek out violations. What the code officers will do is will respond to complaints. It's complaint driven. Or if we become aware or should be aware of something that is a hazard for public safety. We will document findings, and if there is a violation, we'll serve written notice. The ordinance allows for 30 days to correct it. We will most definitely seek voluntary cooperation. I think that's the most important part. Our goal is to get folks to do it on their own and work with the code officer to come into compliance. It also allows for one special extension if there's a medical reason, or if it's winter and they can't address it until spring. The code officer has the authority to grant an extension. After that, then it lands in your guys' court as far as whether you're going to go to court and go to the next level. So it's pretty simple. It's just basically boilerplate language that makes it clear as to what the code officer can and can't not do and what they're looking for. And we have Randy here in case you have any questions on what that looks like on the ground, because I'm not the one that's out there doing it. Thank you.
So you two were the ones that kind of drafted this ordinance? Is that how that worked?
Actually, we did not. I mean, this was adopted in November and by the voters. And so we're just trying to figure out and presenting what exactly it is. So it's clear to the public as well.
So, did
The ordinance committee.
The ordinance review committee.
But did any employees get involved with that? Or? No. It was all ordinance review?
It was.
Kate.
Go
Well,
ahead.
Kate would have been involved because Kate
was,
served them
okay,
before.
all right.
Yeah.
All right, my other question is, so if they don't comply within 30 days, it comes back to us? I assume you're only gonna issue the 180-day extension if it's warranted, meaning weather, wintertime.
Correct.
Floods, whatever.
Yep, and then it comes down to whether we want to spend the money to clean it up and then try to recoup the money, or all of those things. So the severity of it and all that comes into play, I would imagine.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I will follow orders from my supervisors and keep on the letter.
Okay. All right.
Some of them are bad, some of them aren't so bad, so, I mean,
So it sounds like you already have a list.
I could spend all day, every day with the things that are actually violations, yeah. But I'm not seeking them out, so.
You're waiting for a complaint?
Correct.
Yep. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Randy, how's that complaint made? If somebody had a concern, or if they were.
We have a complaint form in our office. I'm not sure if that one's online, but you can do that, call us up, whatever you want.
Can the complainant remain anonymous?
They can.
Okay. I mean, sometimes you get into neighbor versus neighbor. you know?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's constant with that, yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't wanna say who they are,
Sure,
but then you confront the violation and they kinda know who it is. But
okay. Got it.
That's typically what happens.
You had something, Colin?
Yeah, I just question certificate of occupancy. If you help the standard and you end up in a facility or someone's home or resident or wherever, and it doesn't meet code certificate of occupancy standards, at that point, do you revoke the certificate of occupancy or fine them, or how does that work?
You can revoke it. I cannot hand out any fines. That is a courtroom thing, that the lawyers will end up working with you guys to establish what the fines will be. It's a common misconception that I can just
Sure.
write tickets like fines like a cop. I
Sure.
cannot,
Yeah.
so. Yeah, I would deem a place uninhabitable if it wasn't, and revoke the CO, yeah.
You can do that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That answer your question?
You did. Thank you, sir.
Anybody else from the board?
Notes.
One question.
Kevin, Billy? Nothing? Come up. Come up, please.
I was just wondering if we could have 3 examples, because I'm not really clear what would be a violation.
Well, by state statute, if you have 3 unregistered vehicles on your yard, that's a illegal junkyard if you don't get a
Oh,
permit.
that's interesting.
There's a couple of buildings around town that are starting to come down. That's also a health risk for sure. I can easily deem that.
It's pretty specific in the definition of nuisance condition. It talks
Yeah.
about what types of issues would cause it to be in that condition, to have him
Excessive
act.
trash outside, household trash and stuff like that. That's pretty easy to call on.
So that definition of nuisance is attached to
It's in
the ordinance. It's in it.
Yeah.
Right. There you go.
Randy, you mentioned that you didn't cover home associations, but if there was a violation that would fall within that,
Correct,
Correct.
correct,
now within that,
correct. If you have covenants in your association that are specific to that, I'm out. But if it's a standard violation that the town or the state, then yes, we can get involved, yeah.
Anybody else? Seeing none, moving on. Thank you.
thank you, guys.
Thank you. Review and decide on facility fee waiver request from Crosswalk Community Outreach.
So Crosswalk Community Outreach has been using the Singer Center for quite some time to provide their services to residents and residents of neighboring towns. They're requesting a waiver of the standard fee. Their normal hours of operation are only about an hour and a half, but there's about an hour of setup, hour and a half setup, hour to an hour and a half of tear down associated with their operation. If I'm off on the times, please let me know. So rough math is about $85.50 per use times 24 uses a year. They provide services twice a month. That comes out to a total fee of $2,100 a year. And they're requesting a waiver of that fee, and I've submitted the application for all of 2025.
I want to
Okay,
say something.
please.
I just wanted to let you guys
Can you
know
introduce
that.
yourself first, please?
Excuse me?
Introduce yourself.
My name is Joanna
Thank you.
Moore. I'm a founding member of Crosswalk. We've been working with the town of Naples for 16 years. We've run out of the town hall for the last 15. We work with Maine VOAD, Volunteer Organizations Assisting in Disaster, Maine MEMA. We did 500 meals a week during COVID, delivered on 3 routes to Naples, and for free of charge, didn't charge the town a dime. We do about $150,000 to $200,000 worth of goods and services. We serve about 133 Naples families on a roster, and we do food assistance, we do meals, we do emergency fuel, we do a number of things. We also work with the Southern Maine Agency on Aging. I was on the advisory board for 5 years. So we're working in collaboration with them to try to find a spot so that we can serve the seniors in the community and have what they call I forget the name of it, but they have a class and then they get a free hot meal. So we're hoping that the town of Naples will support us in what we're doing here and see that we're actually an asset and not a burden. We're a nonprofit, we raise all our own money. Sometimes we have had to ask the town of Naples for support for that. But we have given a lot more than we've asked for. So to us, you know, having a waiver would be beneficial for us so that we don't have to worry about that. We're working on trying to find a building because we used to work in collaboration with many people, and the town of Naples gym was for the town of Naples. So we used to have birthday parties there, we had weddings, we had funerals, we did fundraisers for the Naples community. We've done a number of things to support the Naples community here, and so we're looking for you guys to look at us in a different way and recognize that we have offered a lot to this community. So giving us a break would be wonderful.
I just want to speak up. My name's Jean Snell, I'm on the board. I interact a lot with the people that come to the pantry, and there's a lot of seniors, believe me, that come there that say if the pantry wasn't there, they wouldn't be able to eat. So just think about that.
We know also that there are folks there that come, and we're seeing a lot of middle-class people that we have never seen before.
Right.
They're in need of food, and we offer a free, healthy food pantry, so we go out of our way to purchase fruits and vegetables and things and they get to shop and get what they want and bring it home. So we feel that we're offering a great service to the community. We also cannot discriminate on who comes through the door. So some pantries have to go according to USDA standards, and they have to go by income. Because we are we're a part of the federal program, we cannot refuse anyone, no matter who they are, and we have to let them come in and get food. So we're involved with the Maine USDA. We're involved with what's called the CFSP program, which is specifically a food program for seniors over 60 years old. That's free of charge. We offer clothing. I put clothing out every single time. We had 60 jackets that were delivered to us. They were brand new jackets. We put them out on the table. They were all gone the first day. So we do a number of things. We even put up people in hotels. When the town of Naples turns people down, we put them up in a hotel. It may be short-term, but we take care of them. So we feel like we are an asset to this community, so we're looking at it from that point of view, and we're hoping that you will look at us from a different point of view. And that is a burden.
And based on the economic times, I mean, we get new people every week. I mean, people are struggling, they really are, and the Crosswalk Pantry is a real benefit to these people in the community. I mean, I wish you all would come some Monday and see the type of people and talk to the people who are there, because there's wonderful people who go there that are in very hard times, and it's not their fault.
My name's Gil Roberts, and I volunteer to give people rides that can't get to the pantry. So I make sure that on pantry day I pick them up, go through the line with them, and then bring them home. Otherwise, they wouldn't eat. Then there's one gentleman in town, Walter, which you all know, who's kind of not all there, but I make sure he eats.
It's true.
You must have a way online that somebody can send a message, hey, I need a ride. I mean, how's that all work?
We know pretty much everybody
You
there.
know where they are?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I wanted to let you guys know too, we also have about 55 volunteers total. And everything that we do is free. So none of us are paid.
No.
None of our board members are paid. We've been doing this for 16 years. We used to have a community garden behind here that's no longer there. We had grants. We wrote the grants to teach people how to grow their own food. And then they paved the backyard, the back way, and that was gone. We plan on taking and trying to raise funds in the community to find a place where not only Crosswalk, our services and things we do, but to offer a place of community so that we could start having people be able to use our building free of charge, not have to come to the town of Naples, come down and use it for their birthday parties, just like it used to be. The community way, the community spirit. Having that come back again in this community. We want to be that person. I also told Brian that if, I know that a lot of the activities have been moved out of the gym and that he doesn't have space, he is welcome to use, if we get another space, they're welcome to use it for Zumba, or whatever he needs it to. We're not gonna charge the town of Naples for that. Because that's how we feel about our community. We love this community, we love the people in it, and we want that back. So we're hoping that you will come and you will support us. Thank you.
Thank you. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to waive the fee for crosswalk community. Any questions from the board? No? You good?
I just wanted to support him. They're great.
All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. We now will move to executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056A for a personnel matter, and I need a motion to do that.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second to go to executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Thank you.